Or we're just continuing with the halachot of Pesach. Siman Taf Lamed, Maran brings down that the Shabbat before Pesach, we call it Shabbat HaGadol. Why do we call it Shabbat HaGadol? Because of the miracle that happened on that Shabbat. Now, if the Shabbat HaGadol comes out on Erev Pesach, so then they're going to make the drasha the Shabbat beforehand. However, though the Ben Ish Chai brings down that the minhag was to do Shabbat Erev Pesach to be Doresh and Haggadah, and Shabbat HaGadol was a Shabbat before that Shabbat. So that means they would do Shabbat HaGadol, which is basically the halachot of Shabbat, the halachot of Pesach, the Shabbat prior, and then which means the one like two before, and then the one which is mamash right before Pesach, they will be doresh in the Haggadah. The medaktakim, they come and they say, instead of saying Shabbat Shalom Mevorach, they say Shabbat HaGadol Mevorach, or Shabbat HaGadol Shalom, to do with the Haftarah. Right, there's also the Haftarah. That means even though we're not taking an extra Sefer Torah out, even though this week we are, because this week is Shabbat HaChodesh as well, so we just did Parah and now we're doing a Chodesh, so then what's going to happen is we have the Shabbat HaGadol, there's no extra Sefer Torah, but there's a special Haftarah, the Haftarah of Ve'areva. Why? Because of the miracle that happened. We already know the Midrash brings down that when they came and they took their Pesach, they tied it to the bed, that would actually happen on the Shabbat, and therefore because of the miracle that happened, that the Egyptians were crunching their teeth and they didn't do anything, so therefore that's why it was called Shabbat HaGadol. Siman Tav Lamed Aleph says, Ma Bedikat Hametz. When do we do Bedikat Hametz? So the beginning of the 14th of the Nisan, right, we're going to start checking the Hametz. Remember when it says Botkin et Hametz, we're talking about immediately during the time of Tzetek Kochavim. So nightfall, that's when you start doing Bedikat Hametz. Bechol HaMekomot shederech lachnit sham chametz. In all the places where you usually put chametz. Now here, if you cannot actually come and do it yourself, you will be able to get other people. But lechatechila, you should be doing the Bedikat Hametz yourself, because even though there is a concept that you can make a shaliach, but again, it's always much better that you do it yourself. That's going to be very, very important. Now, besides doing Bedikat Hametz, you also have to do Bitul Hametz. Why? Because first of all, you have to check, because bitul is not enough. Because if you're going to do bitul, which is annulling the chametz, maybe you're going to find a big piece of chametz, and you're not going to come and you're not going to annul it because it's too big. But mitzad sheni, you have to do bedikat chametz to make sure that you don't find a big piece of chametz. But on the other hand, you're also, besides bedikat chametz, maybe be'emet there was still a piece of leftover, and therefore you're going to have to also bitul. So you have to do both bedikat chametz and bitul chametz. So here you're going to do it leor haner bechorin u'sakin. It's going to be in the chorin u'sakin, and all the places where usually you would come and you would put chametz. The halakha number bet says, you're not allowed to start any type of melacha whatsoever, right? That's what Maram brings down. Velo yochal, and you're also not allowed to eat. So here, obviously, we know the concept of eating is that it starts already half an hour beforehand, and it's also going to do with the concept of eating, whether it's going to be a kabetza, right, of whether it's going to be bread, but if it's just going to be snacks or whatever it is, that's going to be okay. Now, when we're talking about even learning, do not learn until you're going to do bedikat chametz. But if you started learning early, so then you don't have to stop. The Rama says, some people say that you do have to stop. And that's what appears ikar. That's also the psak of the Pri Chadash. The Kaf HaChaim brings down, which means that's the inyan of that on the night of Bedikat Hametz, the entire concept of mamash, Bedikat Hametz comes before everything else. Right? Why? Because a person has to make sure that you're going to check the Hametz, and therefore you're going to do it properly without actually annulling any of the other mitzvot, right, as well.